When my friends asked me to cut fifth period to apply for a job at the mall, I didn't hesitate. Unlike my brother, the Eagle Scout who graduated Phi Beta Kappa, I was the bad kid in the family. I took money from my mother's wallet, cut classes when I could, and smoked pot in the student parking lot. When I lied, and I often did, I knew how to cover my tracks. My mother was always suspicious, knew exactly what I was up to, but could rarely prove a thing. But skipping a class to apply for a job was almost legal, if not honorable. Well, it was until the ride back to the high school when we lit up the joint. I have Spanish next period. I said, Mrs. Siegel will know. Oh, stop being so paranoid, they told me, as I took another hit. When I walked into the classroom, the attendance officer was talking to Mrs. Siegel, and both of them stared at me. He led me to his office. Where were you fifth period, he demanded. Your mother's had an accident. I almost started laughing because I was so stoned, but I made myself cry, hoping this was the response he was looking for. It hit the right note because he did soften. Now, he said, she's still alive. Turns out she had fallen and broken her ankle and was in surgery. 1 week later, my mother came home with a cast up to the top of her thigh. They were going to hire a nurse to help her while I was at school, my parents said. Someone who would cook, who would clean, and help her bathe. But the house was getting dirty, we were getting hungry, and my mother needed help getting washed. I stayed home the first week to make sure she didn't fall over her walker. I'd help her to the kitchen table next to the yellow wall phone with the long cord and listen to her talk to her friends while I made the beds. We're trying to find someone, I heard her say. Then a silence. I called her, she said. She can't do it, and it's too expensive to go through an agency. I pulled the vacuum cleaner out of the closet. Don't, she said, I'm on the phone. Could you get me the salad from last night? It went on like this for weeks until we all knew that no one was coming to rescue us. We were in this alone. I went into school late. I fed her lunch at noon and was excused from 8th period. I cleaned, went food shopping, and made her mahjong friends tea when they visited. And instead of hanging out after school, I sat with my mother at the kitchen table, and we made dinner every afternoon. Chop the garlic smaller, she told me. I learned how to make her tomato sauce, her meatballs, her chicken soup. While we worked, she told me stories about our family, secrets she had never shared. As my mother got stronger, she told me to spend more time with my friends. I'll be okay, she said, so I did. But when the hash pipe came out, I passed. Come on. I've got to be home by 4, I said. Why? Asked Sybil, whose mother was never home. I have to make dinner. Oh, I have to make dinner, she said, imitating me, rolling her eyes, and everyone laughed. When her ankle healed after all those months, my mother gradually took over the housekeeping. I helped when she needed it, but I got to be a high school kid again. It was not until she was serving dessert to my father and my Aunt Rita that I realized something had changed. She put a cup of coffee in front of me for the first time. For me, I asked. For you, she said quietly. And I knew that she knew.